It's been a long week, a long several days for us in real life. And I can't speak for everyone, but I know 'tis the season when seasonal affective disorder begins to happen and become higher prevalent with the lack of vitamin D and all of the last few weeks and months that we've enjoyed in real life. This is the moment where a lot of that pressure turns inward, where the knives come out, where we turn against ourselves with memories of the past, and where our loved ones often are not as understanding because they're dealing with their own moments in this time of year. And it's simply because, the sun is out less, we get less vitamin D, we are usually more in closer proximity to one another as the world turns windy and the nights get cooler. So that brings with it its own sort of issues. So I'd like to let you all know that while this is not my only entertainment outlet, getting the opportunity to step away from my life and get a chance to enmesh myself in the world, as dark as it is, and explore all of these moments in a safe environment with you all means a lot. I want to thank you for all the time that we've shared thus far, and I respect your time that you've donated to our own mutual enjoyment of this hobby of ours. If we don't have any other questions, if we are amenable, I'd like to begin Steel Hearts, Rusted Souls.
Season 3, Episode 3. The darkness crumbles away.
Now, when we last left our coterie, when we last left the individuals that are dramatis persona, the actors and characters of our hearts, they had due loyalty to one another, to do loyalty to trusted, loved members of, or appreciated and respected members of their lives, to do to a semblance of responsibility to atone for their actions, which has brought us and them to this moment, seeking answers and aid for one another. They have each managed to go their own way. Mason disappearing into the comfort warmed environment of Marion's limousine, having used Duma's phone to reach out to her, to hoping that the secondary number he had to contact her was in fact valid. Proving that it was, he alighted into her limousine and took a tour into the night. Marcus, leveraging his newfound respectability and memberhood amongst the Chantry, leveraged that in effort to gain much needed assistance in helping his coterie members mend and avert the chaos racing through their system due to the actions of a very skilled warlock. Ben and Leonetti, rising to the occasion of the call of her sire, of her maker, to offset the pernicious dangers and threats assailing his barony, drove into the night, entered into the underworld that is the sewers of the south suburbs of Riverdale, and fought their way through the maze of tunnels, seeking whites and all of those as sundry spirits taking physical form, arriving at the landmark of kindredhood, the originator of the idea, the benchmark that is the succubus. Originally a Ventru venture taken over by the Toreador and built into the premier, both mortal and kindred, destination for a night's entertainment. So we pick up with all of our coterie separated, and to quote the illustrious writer Stephen King, if we don't have each other, we go crazy with loneliness. When we do, we go crazy with togetherness. And there's no better case for that summation of proximity, closeness, than where we alight tonight. Miles apart, moments apart, bending towards the goal of looking out for one another and their loved ones, the coterie finds themselves where we last left. So we'll start in, excuse me, we'll start in reverse alphabetical order with Mason sitting directly across from Marion, her long legs crossed one over the other, her right hand resting on her knee, her left hand resting over the back of the seat. As she looks him over, the damage of the last few months and last few days apparent in every inch of his being. He, looking all the worse for wear, looking like 10 miles of bad road in a 1 mile road bag, had theirs damage internally as well as externally. And while the external damage is by far the easier to grasp, easier to understand, it is that internal damage that is the issue now. Because with the intention stated, with the effort made to initiate this conversation, the follow through of it, however, is another matter entirely. Because sitting here in front of him is the angelic demon of his heart's pain, his lack of understanding, the selfish monster that was so enamored with the potential of his brain, with the look of his face, the style that he had about him, knowing that she could elevate what he was through the most selfish act of love imaginable. She loved what he could potentially be so much that she killed what he was. She brought him into this world of everlasting night with the goal of 1, never being alone, 2, ensuring that he was far more successful than even she, and 3, sad truth of it all, the most important factor, she wanted something and someone to love her as selflessly as she loved others selfishly. So as the limo slides through the night, cutting through the cool night air as if it is a blade made of steel and style, Mason, she says, her southern drawl more pronounced, and that only happened, at least it used to only happen, when she was feeling not quite the best, but always having to put on a stiff upper lip and be all the more host-like in such engagements. Dangerous though they might be, harm though they might come to us, we are above the animals and therefore must exude every bit of style and grace we have. And as those memories assail, so too those long moments trapped, isolated in her basement with her in the learning room. Now, Mason, dear, honey child, you have harmed my reputation amongst your friends and associates. Luckily for us both, they are neither power nor officially rabble, but all the same, you know people talk. And I have heard and verified from Silk that you have said such the same thing multiple occasions in front of her. It wounds me to the core, I must be honest with you. And I am not sure which of my vaunted personas you are deserving of. The anger, the rage, or my pity.
Mar, I know I screwed your image with my my friends, but come on, you know me. I always like telling a story.
Mason, darling, you understand that it's a difficult situation you have put me in. I've spent the last several decades ensuring as to your well-being. I have spoken highly of you and the potential of you as best and as often as I can. I have seen to it that others have taken steps to not act against you far more times than I would have liked to mention. This is not about what you owe me as the one who has risked their entirely damn soul to ensure you have the rest of forever. What you've done in this small wing of the devil's armpit has ruined my standing. Hence the reason why the warlocks hired to ensure that you were safe and awaiting my arrival took such dastardly actions against you. You received the attentions of the Tremere 3. They are some of the most wanted warlocks that there are. And for them to believe that the contract did not attest to your complete safety is part and parcel to the reputation you have planted for me here. What you speak about others carries volumes about who you really are. Your intentions aside, your childish at times sense of humor, and that's what I'm going to chalk it up to, not some malicious intent to lay low someone who has risked their immortality for you, placed you, myself, and your allies in a precarious situation. Because I really am as untouchable as that can actually be. I am safe in Indianapolis, in the bosom of some of the most perniciously evil, dastardly, mind-melting monsters of our kind because of the things that I have wrought. However, word spreads far and travels fast. And I'm not asking for an apology. I would never do so because then it would be unworth the paper it was written on. I'm asking for an acknowledgement as to the harm you have done to me.
I admit, the stories I sprung up about you were not the kindest. But you got to admit, you were a little rough.
God bless your soul. You rough. I spent weeks, months, years, and decades watching over you, ensuring to the best of my ability that you represent not only myself, but yourself to the best of your ability within kindred society. Rough, you bear no scars upon your soul from my actions. You bear no scars upon your body from my tutelage. You bore no loneliness in your rebellion and willfulness. I did not banish you to the dark alone. I did not chain you to a wall or a rack for your insubordination, for your insolence, for your refusal to accept the way of the world, to learn what I was so kindly pulling from the bone for you, so that you have only the sweetest of meats. When I was unkind, there are children now being reared by those who placed them in shackles, both mentally and physically. I never bound you to me by blood. I never forced your acquiescence. I allowed you to grow wild and free and as beautiful as you want. I didn't bend you or twist you like a bonsai tree. I allowed your steps to garner your path. I allowed your will and your ignorance to guide what was to be between us. I even gave up my hope for you so that I might not snuff out your light.
I see, Marion. I see. And um don't screw my words at this moment, for I say rough, but not in those kind of ways. I say rough when I see others being harmed so, and we do nothing about it.
Others, that may be, but you are the only fruit of my blood that I am beholden to. You are the You speak very pretty. You always have. You always had a grasp of words about you. And I fear that your flights of fancy has settled into your mind and become a semblance of reality. It worries me so. But being as you refuse to accept damage, or at least acknowledge the damage that you have wreaked upon me, being as you refuse to carry any of the water in this matter, I guess I shall.
Now wait. What? I see you still have a fancy limousine and a fancy driver. Oh, I did not do any damage that I knew that you could not fix. I know you, Marion. Come on, I know you sometimes better than you know yourself.
And there we are. You believe a thing, and you make it so with your words, and you get lost in that sauce that is your words. My wealth, my efforts to attain what I have should not be labored by your efforts to lash out at me. My efforts to recoup the loss that you have given me in regards to our hallowed clanmates should not be hindered by your efforts. My attempts to rise in our clan, to make something of myself and my children by proxy, should not be hindered nor hamstringed nor shackled by your intent to lay me low. Whether I can surmount or surmise your lies and allegations against me or not, those allegations shouldn't be there to begin with. There's a respect that we should have for one another, that we keep our dirty little secrets in our dirty little closets, lest I remind you of all the many nights where you have shared the company of sundry individuals. Lest I remind others of our clanmates how little you contribute to our network of information. Lest I remind our clanmates that you have chosen to turn your back on our power, and you don't even have the decency to join the rabble. Should I remind our
See,
clanmates that you have an inability to see beyond your own lust? No, because that would impede your path. And it is not my job nor my burden to impede your path. I wanted only the best for you. I wanted you to want that for yourself, to strive ever forward. But you've been lost in the past, in the midst of your words. And even now, and the only thing that I asked was an acknowledgement that you were at least culpable, that you were at least responsible, that your willfulness and your disregard brought us here. I didn't ask for an apology. I don't expect you to eat back your words. Not Thor himself could swallow that seed. But an acknowledgement was all that I asked. And being as that's not forthcoming, no matter how much you have said that you want my assistance, you want my help, you want me to be there for you, you can't even do that. So I understand. And I see that I have made a great and grave mistake in granting you the immortality that you now serve and hold. However, being as that is the case, I will remove my wing from about you. I will remove my protections from your path. I will leave you to your world and your word. But first, I need to know what you have done with my child. I need to know what wrong you have wreaked upon Silk and Segundus. I need to know what you have done so that I can strive and struggle and undo the harm that you have wreaked.
then I only ask one thing.
You've already asked far too much of my kindness. But what is it?
Allow me to help you, because I no longer want to be this outside rose, this black rose in a sea of red. I too am tired of being an outsider. I believe I'm now ready to be a real Toreador, a real child of you once again.
You have the funniest way of asking, my dear boy. You really do. God bless your heart. You are simply the absolute bravest person such as yourself that I have ever known. I asked you for one, a bit of accounting, and then I demanded another. You said, yes, but instead of meeting me even remotely halfway, instead of extending the offer of, yeah, maybe my willfulness, instead you just choose to display your willfulness and
Last time
demand
I
an
heard
opportunity.
of your other child, she was going to my apartment, my house, my mansion. I haven't been there since the day I got kidnapped by those. By those humans, those kind. I have changed, Marion. So instead of saying fancy words, just let me prove it to you. I don't know why my hired gun said that she was dead, but I have no reason to believe that.
can't believe you. I should believe you. I shouldn't place my faith in you. But God knows that I am far softer hearted than I should be. You look horrible. You cannot mount a rescue looking as you do. I'll take you back to your friends, your other chantry members that you were working with there at the school. And I will consider you own the case in regards to seeking out my child, seeking out mending fences, silk. And when those things are done, and my child is returned to me, because it's clear that Gary is not the place for my children, we shall reconvene and try talking again, and you will have my thanks. It has been enlightening looking you in your face and seeing the man that you have become. Do this, and we'll pretend that this conversation ended with hugs and kisses instead of with you being truly Mason McGinnis, not Mason McGinnis, child of Marion. Silk knows where my main number these days, and she understands how to reach me. I am only roughly 4 hours away if we go the slow route. So I look forward to hearing from you and hearing from Silk. You have mended fences. You have repainted things and fixed up what you have broken. Let's say 3 nights at the outside. If I have not heard from you then I understand that nothing has happened, and I will take all the steps that I need to. That seems amenable to you.
Yes.
Excellent. And she taps on the window between where you all are and the driver, who is literally as close to someone carving a man out of black volcanic rock that you have ever seen. His features chiseled and threadbare of every facet of fat. It looks as if he is a carved Grecian god. All the same, you arrive back at the school, and as he moves to open the door, Marion leans forward, lightly resting her left hand, the fingers of her left hand against the outside of your left hand, just the briefest of touches. Mason, I really did love you, and I really did want the best for you. I hope that you are successful, because, well, you know how twisted love can be. Its opposite is so far worse.
Before Mason gets out of the car, he goes, and a part of me still does love you, Marion. Goodbye for now. He leaves.
Stepping out of the car, we shift our gaze to Marcus, trundling through the library, looking in the higher hidden reaches, which have always been plain to see if you know what you're looking for. Now, having been made aware as to some of the many ways that the Chantry hides things in public sight, not just their grandiose flash in the pan that they use to distract and discourage people, but their real secrets, which are usually on far easier display than most would assume. Marcus is tearing through the library. He's looking for
anything concerning sympathetic and conduit magic.
well, that's easy enough.
Yeah.
And far too easy. because you were taught the basis of some of that just earlier with the mending that Anon showed you. You need matter, you need blood, you need something of earth, something, even if it's been slightly manufactured, and you need something that acts as an effigy. And it doesn't seem like it when you look at what she asked you to obtain, but when you, knowing that that's the basis of things, it really makes sense. A sacrifice, i.e. the finger, which acts as a living embodiment, something lost, which is what you hope to do, to lose the signs and symbols of pain, and something nature, something of earth, the stake, the wood, something hardy. So it's a fact you want to take onto yourself, something robust and strong. The basis of it was there in the items obtained, and the blood acting as catalyst forced that mending upon you. It brought those properties into yourself, partially due to all of those items, as well as the sacrifice of your finger, making it even more directed towards you instead of just about. There's roughly 40 miles between where you are and where Ben said that they might be. If she's accurate, they are in the succubus, that's 40 miles into the heart of the city itself. 40 miles. But no conductive item apparent. You don't have any of Ben's blood. You don't have any of her hair. You don't have any of her flesh. You don't have any of Leonetti's flesh, blood, hair, matter.
I've tasted Leonetti's blood.
Yes, so you would know it when you find it. However, you don't have any of it.
I know where I think I can get some. So, thinking along those lines, I'm looking for the right Greco-Latin Sumerian complex. Of verbiage of the thing I want to break, which would be the stake itself. A sacrifice. I think the only one who didn't actually get physically hurt was Duma, and he died there. So there should be blood from Ben and Leonetti in the room. I have another pinky. I have the stake. And something broken I can arrange. Because I have Duma's knife. I can break the shit out of that. But I need the words, the chant to go to direct it. And
To be so kind as to roll your wits and awareness, or wits plus etiquette. There are a lot of connotations inherent with libraries. There's lots of personal meanings that people have with the idea of library. For the bulk of students, for the bulk of children, not necessarily college students, but for the bulk of children, the library is a way where you go and you browse in advance of buying your scholastic books. You look and see books that you like and who the author is, and you make sure that you look for them when the scholastic book fair comes around. And it's a fun connotation. It gives you the idea that this is the place where you can find knowledge. For those of the collegiate minded, it's the place where you can escape and look like you're doing your work. You can sit in the library with your headphones on and your screen turned so that it automatically is darkened if you're more than a few places away. You can break out a couple of notebooks and throw your books all over the table and sprawl and eat and veg out and hide from responsibilities like no one's business. For master's students and PhD students, it's the place that you dread. Because to properly cite, you need so many sources, you need so many authors, so many thinkers who have a similar idea that you can easily draw quotes from, ideas, passive knowledge, showing how you arrived at the support of your thesis statement. It's a maze. It's a monster. But all of those connotations, the one that stands out in this moment is that the library is the place where you go to hide. Okay. And as Marcus is literally searching for a needle in a haystack, he pauses as the air doesn't quite seem right. There's a noise, a subtle sound, something that doesn't belong in a library. It's not the sound of people moving. It is not that live party environment, but every room has a sound, and every library has a similar sound, especially at this hour of the evening with no one being here, with no one having the real access to what you're looking for. It should be empty. Sound should not be as it is. It's something he didn't realize he immediately understood, but it's a person in pain. Something, somewhere, someone in this space, out of view, in pain. It's that careful inhalation of air that one probably doesn't need because it's easy to hyperventilate. It's that quiet, muffled, you're remaining as low and quiet as you possibly can to not attract attention to yourself. And you wouldn't if the room had a different sound, if libraries had a different volume level, and if you were not dead already, it wouldn't even be something you'd notice above the beating of your own heart, over the flow of blood in your ears. But as you are dead and nothing is moving and the room sounds are off, you are aware that you are not completely alone.
I really, really wanted to be alone. This little itch is going to attack my brain till I hunt it down. So making sure no one can see me. Going to fade from sight and hunt down this distraction.
As a kid, you always loved puzzles. You loved solving things. You loved the completion of the chase, solving the maze, solving the equation, solving, period, and making things as you did. This is a puzzle that you don't want. People are puzzles. Beings living and undead are puzzles you honestly must admit you don't want. Yet there's a part of you that views it as it is. It is a puzzle. It's a mystery. And you search high and low and higher still. And in one of the back stacks, back where the emergency lights don't come on automatically. People are moving around. In that space where the lights have to be turned on manually in the old newspaper stacks in the microfiche area, you find Marie Richette by herself. Her potato-tinged tears staining the paper in front of her. It's a printout. It's literally an old school printout, or at least the paper is. Has the marks of something extraordinarily low tech for today. Yet she holds it as if it is something of immense value, and her tears stain the soft sobs escaping her. Too soft for anyone else to notice, and would have been too soft for you to notice if you had not been stuck searching for a mystery, searching for that needle in the haystack. You probably wouldn't have heard her yourself. There she sits, staring at the paper, allowing her tears to flow and streak, staining her face, the paper, and her clothing as she looks at it.
I'm going to be less than delicate and try to observe the paper without disturbing her. Not disturbing her being more important than seeing the words, but in my current state, I should be able to get fairly close.
Excessively close. You are not noticed by anyone, by anything, especially someone whose eyes are soaked with the pinkish tint of their own tears, whose mind is focused on what is in front of her on the paper. Between the stained blotches of red, and which show that she's been crying a multiplicity of moments tonight, the paper nearly soggy with her betrayed tears. It is amazingly underwhelming. She is dead.
I'm observing a dead young lady.
No, that's the message on the paper. She is dead. A 10 pica Times New Roman typed message. And you realize why it looked like a printout, because the paper had been actually rolled through a typewriter roller, and someone had typed out this simple message, which is not all that easy to do, as they managed to typeset the writing so that it is dead center of the page.
Right before he checks around to make sure that nobody else is observing. Because, the masquerade. Right before he becomes visible again, he asks, "Who is she?" And then fades into view.
You have never seen Marie outside of this moment look anything but impeccable. To be anything but austere. Her blonde hair and honey gold eyes. Her lipstick always 100% immaculate. Her long hair always plaited in place, and her attire befitting one who felt that they were, or who they represented, were above reproach. In this moment, it is all that she can do to not leap out of her skin, so distracted by those three little words. And as she attempts to compose herself, you can see the tremulation, the natural, almost human response of when you're caught doing something to level fury, to level anger, to become accusatory of the other person. But somehow, in that sea of emotion, she finds her silver path. She seems to straighten right before you. It's almost as if she had not been crying. She seems to take on that cool, frosty, almost Nordic sensibility about herself. Majesty, I did not see you.
That's my fault. I didn't expect anyone to be up in the stacks. And I am investigating something concerning my coterie, but
Yes, I was wondering, had that come to your attention? And it's not often that one, we as a whole reach out to a person of that caliber, and two, it is not often that we expect one of us to be in such close proximity to a person of that caliber. How long have you known Mr. Bogdanov? Or better yet, how long have you known the Baron?
the Baron?
Yes. Mr. Bogdanov's liege lord, his master, the person to which you must obtain lease of his services, the Baron of South Haven.
My connections are buried and drawn from primarily my skills outside of the chantry. They often lead me to interactions with people who would mostly be seen as greatly outside of my, as the humans say, out of my league. It's in this way that I met the Regent.
Well, yes, I suppose that's to be understood. I'm sorry. I apologize. That was rude of me, and it was completely uncalled.
No, I strive in most things to be fairly honest in my dealings. It makes my life much easier than, well, your run-of-the-mill kindred running about, keeping their lies and secrets and always having to double speak.
No, I understand. You inadvertently asked about, and she folds the paper carefully and lovingly as if it was a missive several paragraphs long, filled with stanzas and words of love, as if it was something to be cherished instead of just 3 words. And she folds it again and slips it into her pocket. She didn't realize that skirt would have a pocket, let alone one large enough for that slip of paper. But all the same, she moves it out of sight and she looks back towards you. Magister, I must make this plain. I apologize because my actions, my attempt to change your focus, you were not worthy of. You didn't deserve it. You don't deserve it. Even though I am sure that you don't care, save for obtaining a bit of leverage. I should treat it with the idea that perhaps I might be wrong. I seldom am. However, in this case, to not continue receiving more of the same, you must change how you go about things. So, instead of attacking your coterie members to elicit any emotional response to drive you further away from me and not have to answer or deign you worthy of an answer to your question, she was the only kindred that I have ever loved. She was the Baron of Arlington Heights. She is no more. And because of her loss, I am bereft. I am grieving. I need time to do so, but there is no time with the troubles ahead of us. The 3 warlocks that you, well, vicariously you and your coterie were assigned to dispatch are dangerous in and of themselves, and you all dispatched the most dangerous, one of them, the Beastmaster. However, the other 2 are not to be taken for granted. So much so that as she looks around you, are you able to see if there is any other person skulking invisibly near at hand?
My skills at invisibility are well tuned due to my upbringing, but my skills at detecting them are not as finely honed.
Very well. I'll only share information that could be found elsewhere. Regent Dubiard, through Anand, was also hired to ensure that they didn't make it past your potential and most likely failure. Favors were given and granted, and while initially the attempt was made to claim supremacy over the death of both of the deceased kindred, you all arriving when you did and sharing the information that you did means that he has lost some measure of faith. His reputation has taken a small hit, though successful he was. As such, the boon extended from Regent Rose has been lessened. We are 2 of the 3 deceased. The 3rd has gone missing. And we have news from afar that, well, Bartleby himself may have managed to not be completely removed from their existence. All the same, there's a 3rd warlock, a 3rd rare member of the Chantry who has gone completely rogue somewhere out there in the world, knowing that he's unwanted by any and all of us. And yes, I'm purposely giving you more information than you need so that you lose track that my lover, the former Baron of Arlington Heights, is no longer in existence. Some habits die hard, Magister. Perhaps you can forget that I am here, and I will work towards minimizing my natural inclination to ensure that no one understands what may be happening.
I appreciate that. And I agree to everything you've said, except for one small caveat. I realize I'm a lowborn caitiff, long trained by the Ventru, and now taken in by the Tremere. But asking after the name of who she is was merely curiosity and a vestige of kind empathy. I'm young in all of this, and I genuinely wanted to know. Not to use it against you or for leverage, but because it was the right thing to do to ask, in hopes that maybe I could have been of some help. And if removing the Beastmaster lessened the pain, I'm gladdened by it. My friends and I have far more wide-ranging concerns than political power within the Chantry. Or in general society. I was just wondering why somebody was in the library, obviously afflicted by some kind of pain. So you have no need to worry that someday in some indeterminate future I will hold this momentary lapse against you. And I do apologize for having been skulking around invisible. I should have merely used my feet and not my skills to find out what was going on. As for the other, it is welcome news that another one of the three has been dealt with. We were not happy that we had only managed to get one of them. Though he was brutal. And there was very little we could do, very little power we could muster with the whole Leonetti about to explode thing after we had dealt with Nigel. But we still were hurt by the idea that we had not been able to accomplish more in that first night. But knowing that at least one of the others fell is good to know. The idea that Bartleby might have survived, not as much of a happy thought, but that is probably a bridge to burn on another night. But I would like to reassure you that our meeting this evening will never be spoken of by me to anyone.
Pauses and looks at you. She looks at you in a way that would easily make someone uncomfortable. There's a weight to her gaze, as though she's measuring every ounce of your being versus the words you've just bandied. Lightly inclining her head to the right, she, for the first time, breaks her placid facade of frown. There is a significant amount of things that could be said. But for the life of me in this moment, I can't find either of them. I am really struck dumb, Marcus. And I thank you for sharing that bit of humanity with me. Then she blinks and sets herself back to right. The frown of consternation disappeared, her face once more placid and calm, almost Nordic in its immediate disapproval of everything. And she folds her hands onto the table in front of her. If you'll allow me further privacy, I am not quite done grieving.
Absolutely. I'm just wandering about trying to find some text on the Greco-Latin chants that I'm going to need to try something possibly very stupid in the very near future.
If you are testing theorem in practical application, you should be using one of the laboratories on the floor above.
Oh, well, I'm not going to try anything in the library. I just needed to do a little bit of research, and then I'm going to take my craziness to a room that is as warded as can be found, because if I'm going to blow something up, I'd rather it be me.
That's what most of us. But in regards to the conjugation of the spell, translations and a simple cipher are hidden in the laboratories.
Now that's good to know. I thank you very much, and I leave you to your thoughts.
Good night, Marcus.
And Marcus is going to not exactly flee, but to the outside observer, it's going to look a lot like fleeing. And head up to the laboratories where they first initially inspected his hand the first time he got it fucked up.
Mm-hmm. So you have to head back out through the waiting room, across the waiting room, into that door, and leading up and into the space above.
Yeah.
As you do so, there's always a saying that people toss out: "Speak of the devil, and he shall appear." However, that's not exactly what happened. You were seeking to help one of your coterie members, and in walks Mason.
Why am I the devil? Okay.
You're gonna scream like the devil in about 20 minutes, so get used to the idea.
Okay.
So I come hauling ass through the foyer, the 4-desk foyer.
And in walks Mason.
And walks in. It's like, Mason, perfect. This is kind of what I needed. You're coming with me. Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
You still look like shit.
No shit. Oh, cool.
Yeah, you just get your wallet out because you're gonna want something to bite probably. And we head up to the lab.
Any kind volunteers?
Excuse me. Sorry for sounding like shit, but my voice is going because of the illness that I'm suffering with. All the same, as you all make your way across the foyer and into the stairwell leading up to the laboratories that technically shouldn't exist, based on the spacing of the building, with it being so maze-like, there are... One of the things that Marcus has found is because of the way that the building is designed, there are hidden floors connecting with the other. They just are invisible floors. You wouldn't know that they were there unless, of course, being as the Shamir are wily and tricksy. So these half floors, these not quite there floors, are where you're heading for the laboratories. One of the few helpful things that Anand has actually shown you in the tour of things. As you all head there, and you open the door, we shift our gaze to Leonetti and Ben. Ben on the phone and ending the call with Marcus, and you having ended your voicemail with Mason, and the tingling drum of the bass inside that door echoing towards you all. What do? You can always crawl back into the sewer and try to make your way back through those miles upon miles of tunnels.
That's in there, thank you. We were going to, Ben has been to the succubus very rarely in her on death and never in her life before then. But having peeked through the door, the style of dress of the people on the other side gives her some hope that they'll be okay cutting through. With the amount of darkness and stuff that there is, maybe their stained and ripped clothes won't be as noticeable. It'll just be like a fashion statement or something. And she needs to get somewhere kind of safe because Marcus told her that he's going to attempt magic on her from a distance, and she doesn't want to be anywhere too exposed, basically.
Leonetti looks at Ben and just says, like, if you need a distraction to get out of here, I'll help you. I'll do what I can.
I don't think we really need a distraction. It's more of blending in and working our way out. Either we're gonna have to go up all the way upstairs, or if I remember right, the maze is in the basement, and the basement leads to a side entrance that some of these people sneak in, if I remember. So we can always sneak out that side entrance. It's the problem of once we get out, what do we do then? How the hell do we get back to anywhere resulting or resembling somewhere safe?
Personally, I think that we're gonna have to steal a car.
I guess.
It'd be not the most preferable action, but either that or we trust that part of our coterie somehow is gonna get here before somebody we might not really want finding us. It's either that or we wait for the coterie to find us.
I think we gotta try to get that 40 miles home tonight before the sun comes up. So either Uber or stealing a car it is.
Can we make it?
If we done it and take the back roads, we're going to very carefully wind our way into the crowd on the other side of the door.
Okay, well, that being the case, would you all be so kind as to... Now, it's going to be one of the few first of our time at play. Instead of using an ability, you will be using 2 skills. Would you roll your stealth and etiquette, please?
There's no dots in etiquette.
Yeah, man, fuck them social mores. You do what you want. You live on the edge. You're a rebel.
Yes. Fuck society.
I mean, I got Streetwise.
So you know how to buy drugs, pick up prostitutes, run from the cops? You know, all the good stuff. So what do we got? Oh. All right. Leonetti.
Well, you should have a higher stealth because he's all mercenary dude. So.
Yeah, my stealth is higher. So that's a 7 in total. So
How much you got in etiquette, man? Dude, that's a lot.
etiquette?
Yeah, stealth and etiquette.
Stealth and etiquette. Okay, I just have 4 in it, but still. Oh shit, did I do it wrong? Yeah, I did it wrong. Fuck. Well, that...
No, wait, you were supposed to put them together because you were supposed to add your stealth and etiquette together. And
No, that is it. I don't have any etiquette.
Oh, yeah, that you did.
That was... Yeah, it fucked up pretty badly.
That's not a fuck up. That's an opportunity. That's a great opportunity. Remember, chaos is in fact a ladder. And because of that ideal and the fact that you are moving through the official home of the greatest, most well-known, most powerful anarch center in the entirety of the Midwest. An open secret amongst the anarchs, which you guys mostly associate with. You, Leonetti, are bondsman to an anarch baron. And then you have associated with and understood that the barons were the law on the street while the Camarilla were the law in the books in Gary for years. So knowing that this is the anarch center, the greatest anarch center in the Midwest, and the reason for that is the succubus is a landmark for kindred, but it is a temple to the might and power, the authority, the grace of the Camarilla in the greatest Camarilla city in the Midwest, the crowned jewel city. So for it to have an anarch center in a kindred landmark, secretly though openly, is the biggest black eye that any anarch has managed in the last 10 years, easily, outside of, shotgun and a meeting and official fuck you in front of the width and breadth of the most powerful kindred in the world. Outside of that, this is the lasting black eye that the tower can't live down. And it's unofficial baron, it's unofficial mascot, it's unofficial man of the hour, of every hour. And he spots your attempts to sneak away, and he realizes that you are not, in fact, anarch as far as anyone is known. Status. No one has any influence amongst the anarchs. No one has any. And the fact that neither of you are blushed lets it be known that you are kindred. And you are officially Camarilla spies coming down here to start shit without starting shit.
Wait, who notices us?
People. The anarchs the Anarch leader of this little domain within a domain. And as you all sneak away, and you're nearly into the maze, you hear the steel-toed booted, quick-footed chase of others heading in your direction. Now, being survivalists at heart, you all begin making your way as far away from the sound of rushing feet as you possibly can. Because the truth of the matter is, you are in a Camarilla city, unannounced. There's all toward number of things that could happen. Expecting the Anarchs to be here, however, is another matter entirely. And lo and behold, here they are, and they're rushing towards you. And Leonetti has had enough of running. Or more specifically, his beast has had enough of running. His beast has had enough of being toyed with and teased. Blood of kindred there to be drunk, and he denies it. And as Ben tries to grab Leonetti's hand to pull them further through the maze and up and out, you feel it before you see it. Looking back over your shoulder, because his hand should be there, you know about how close he was, you see him divest a kindred of their being. Gentleman gets too close. Instead of, and credit where credit's due, he doesn't pull the trigger, but he rams the gun into the man's jawline, up and under into that soft palate. His head snaps back. There's a spurt of vitae, and that's all the beast needs. It clamps down, and there's screams, and people begin running the opposite direction. The jig is officially up. It is clear you all are injured in the wrong area at the wrong time. What do you do?
Well, time to murder everyone. Time to murder every kindred, any non-kindred and kindred that gets in our way. My way specifically, I have to fix this. Well, let's do this. How am I gonna do this fucking shit? I have a revolver. Not the best at dealing with the crowd.
How much slower would it make me if Ben just cut out the middleman, fuck the bullshit, wrapped her arms around his middle section, lifted, and just kept going?
So you're pretty much going to try to hip check and carry a toss without going the full toss.
Kinda, yeah. Let's go. I don't have time for this bullshit.
All right. Well, Leonetti, in your attempt to murder everyone, is it going to be by bullet, or are you going to beat them to death, or drain this kindred completely dry?
He's gonna start firing shots at whoever he can. That's his most comfort. That's where he's most comfortable in.
All right. That being the case, would you be so kind as to shoot from the hip, roll your dexterity and firearm, and as you begin laying off shots and clicking dry, pushing the kindred that you've bit and torn free of, Ben, once Leonetti rolls, would you be so kind as to roll strength plus brawl? Excuse me. My goodness, it is. There are certain moments in life where fate reaches in, and instead of leading you gently along a path towards your chosen destination, fate picks you up and shakes you by your lapels, trying to drive sense into you. That's exactly what transpires in this offing. Leonetti tears his fangs out of the kindred closest to them, shoving them away as he falls into a 3-point fires crouch, a shooter's crouch. Sorry, I just can't speak right now. So he falls into a shooter's crouch, bracing his revolver, and starts picking off kindred that he spots in the crowd that aren't blush with headshots. If they aren't dead, they are officially dead because he's officially ruined their mask or their ability to hide as anything but the unliving and undead. As he does so, and you see gray matter mixed with fate shooting skyward, wounds that nothing living could ever survive. And these kindred, quite rightfully being pissed to the point where they begin losing their cool. Some of them are smart enough to stay down, however, the bulk of them are not, and they begin encroaching on where you all are. The intent to beat you within an inch of your torpor and lead you in front of the prince. As they close, Ben wraps her arm around Leonetti and lifts him like the lodestone that he is and drags him through the building. In the doing, the vitae in the air, the people screaming, the chaos ensuing, you hear a roar of aggression that causes the walls to rattle, and a gentleman who looks like someone's grandfather wades into the bunch of them. There's a snap here and a break there, a tear there, and they're all being tossed aside like kindling in piles of wood. It is a massacre. But you guys are out on the street. You made it to the side door. There are people screaming inside. You can hear the sound of combat. You know that it's going to be a mess. You have literally crushed, destroyed, trampled, and overthrown certain people's idea of self. There will be hell to pay. What do you guys do?
Doesn't put him down just yet till they get to the edge of the alley, and then she like drops him on his butt and looks at him. What part of stealth do you not fucking get?
I understand.
Apparently
I'm also
not.
really hungry.
Because you started shooting everybody, and now we need to get the fuck out of here.
I agree with you. Sorry. I just got really fucking hungry. You know how it fits.
And starts looking for a viable vehicle to snag, and is also aware that through news, and Marcus is often lecturing her everywhere, that Chicago is one of the most camera-laden places possible, so she is going to be aware of the cameras when they're picking up their target.
Picking out what sort of car are you attempting to pick up?
Nondescript beater, just something that nobody would really miss too much, but fast enough to get to where we're going.
You do realize that you are in the downtown area, a stone's throw away from the mecca of tourism. The most nondescript car you might find easily is a Lexus. So that's slightly greener. Most of the cars are Tesla enough. The cars inside the pipeline. Most of them look to be considerably not off model, i.e. not off the back. Special orders, interiors, exteriors, colors, spoiler kits. It is the place where people are trying to show that they have money by living beyond their means. It's the place where price tags they are immediately in balance with the name brand. And most of the name brands in this area are as far away from non-exotic as possible. You see more Aston Martins than you do Chevys. You see more Alfa Romeos than you do Fords. You see more Porsches, Lamborghinis than you do taxis. This is the worst block and worst area to look for nondescript. You even see
Okay.
an Aston Martin that has been painted a pink camo.
Oh, that's offensive as hell to Ben. Part of her wants to claw it to pieces, but she's not
Wait,
going
what?
to. It's a pink camo Ashton Martin.
Okay, I see.
I guess this would be a bad block for this. Maybe we should try 2 blocks over. Less fancy. But put the gun away, please, and then we'll try to find something to eat on the way, okay?
Got it. He puts his revolver away.
And there's something comforting about holding a firearm. It gives you peace. It gives you solace. It helps you and your beast have something to focus on. The eventual blood, the eventual death and pain that those firearms cause that could, in effect, be your next meal. There is a balance of trust that you've extended, but haven't quite lived up to. Finding you something to eat is a little different. Finding something that's palatable for you is different. You can fake it, you can down it, but it won't do anything for your hunger if you don't get your specific needs met. And the longer you go without your needs being met, the more likely it is that you will have such moments exponentially more often. So finding you something to satiate something that you need help with, clearly.
Yeah. Leonetti. Ooh. Yeah, it doesn't look too good. Leonetti also tries to help look for a car that's not too bright, not too flashy or expensive, but still fast enough that they need.
All right, that being the case with you both. Well, Nina, you have the highest stealth, right? You have a 4, right?
Yep.
All right, so add a 1 to your stealth and roll your wits plus stealth plus 1.
Oh, okay. That's actually going to be decently helpful. I have pretty high wits. That is... Oh.
You all blend in with the crowd. So much so that you literally are socially invisible. It is with no small bit of immediate shock that then you see a white construction van moving down the block. It's the second time that you've seen it, and it's clear that it's patrolling. That's not an official vehicle of any sort, and it is as nondescript as you possibly can be in this particular area. No one really cares what the help are doing with themselves. However, having that thought that no one cares what the help is doing with themselves, you also know that you wouldn't be the only person or the first person to think of such, especially if you lived in this area or operated in this area. Especially if your men and associates had been just had their throats ripped open by clear out of towners.
Ben points out the vehicle. And what is the next closest one that we can just hop into? Or that we can, just kind of snag?
So, that being the case, Ben, this is all on you. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your intelligence and larceny? Problem with new cars, well, with cars these days, is that the computer system is hardwired into most facets of it. There are ways around normally if the car was pre-2010. However, nearly every car that you run across is within 6 months to 2 years of today's date of having been rolled off the line. Nearly every one of them have ground-based avionics, which is what the computer system basically is. It handles all of the systems and manages it so that you don't have to, and it makes things lighter and easier and more customer-friendly, more user-friendly, and it's a pain in the ass. Leaving you to break into a 2021 bright lime green and yellow topped Mini Cooper.
If that's all there is, then I'm gonna Uber. Because there's no way. There's no way. The paint job on that screams pull me over. Nope.
I agree. That does. That is a car that definitely sticks out.
And speaking of sticking out, the van eases to a stop next to the curb. The panel slides back inside are 3 feet. The driver is a lovely, buxom redhead. And she smiles, lowering her sunglasses. The 3 men smile and wave hello while leveling trench guns at a shotgun. From this distance, we can't miss. You want to get in so we don't have to make a mess of anybody? We close them up quiet. And as you all sit there looking at those shotguns, Leonetti clearly tempted to see who's the quicker draw. It is exactly of the hour Let's take a quick break here and see you back at 10 after the hour. All right, folks, how we doing?
Tired, even though I just chugged the whole thing of coffee.
You know, it still has to digest, but okay.
Well, no, that was like an hour ago.
Well, you may need to watch your coffee intake because it seems that you may be developing a tolerance toward caffeine.
You know, I only have like a cup a day, so no, it's not that.
Really? A cup a day. And how big is your cup? Is it prescribed 8 ounces? Or are you drinking considerably more?
Well, it's supposed to be 8 ounces. I do like 11 ounces usually in my coffee.
I see. And you only have coffee when we play?
No, every day. Why?
Just say, maybe try a day without coffee and see how you feel.
Very icky and sad because I cannot wake up.
That sounds like a caffeine addiction with a tolerance thrown in.
Oh, whatever.
But hey, we all have our things.
It's accepted in the society that for coffee addictions.
Oh, I didn't say anything was wrong. There's no disparagement. Just about your tolerance going up and your addiction taking over. It just is what it is. Really, can you go a day without coffee without feeling like shit?
Oh no, yeah, I can. I just like today. I almost went out with coffee because I wasn't doing anything. But
it's just a personal preference of. Do I want to take coffee or do I not want to? You know what?
Yes, I inject it into my veins.
Yes.
11 ounces at a time.
Oh. Yes. With some creamer, of course.
Why would creamer? Why don't you drink it black like your normal psychopathic American?
Psychopathic? I'm not a psycho. I'm just whatchamacalled? Emotionalist. There's a difference. I'm a sociopath, not a psychopath. I like my sweets.
Are we the only ones back? No one else made it?
I'm here.
Yes.
Alzheimer's is here.
Ben, you back?
Yes.
All right. So, when we stepped away, Ben, Leonetti, were leveled with the accusations of several shotguns in their direction. What would you all like to do?
What?
Ben sighs deeply. Could this night get any more shitty? I would almost rather go back and face the whites than have fucking shotguns pointed at me. But I guess this is where we are. So is this a kidnapping or what? Like, should we tell somebody to expect a ransom?
Wait, what's going on again?
She's talking to the people in the van.
Oh, okay.
The driver, her smile still in place. Well, despite what you think, Chicago ain't all that rowdy. Like, we could shoot you, and it probably swept under the rug, but we prefer not to. That's a lot of effort. So you literally have, you already wasted 17 of these precious seconds. Get your ass to the van so that we can go. Otherwise, we drop you where you stand. No muss, no fuss, and we don't need to talk. It's up to you.
Let's go, because I really want to destroy this.
Ben
Leonetti's
gets
like,
in.
did they ask Leonetti, or is he just somewhere else?
No, we
Okay.
both got guns pointed at them, so we're
Okay.
getting in or getting shot. So Ben gets in, but as she gets in, she marks each face and each smell in her memory banks, because if it goes bad, she's gonna point directions for Seth.
And Leonetti?
Leonetti's going in because, for once, he wants to hear it out, what they're gonna say, before he starts to try and start killing them. But yeah, that.
So as the door closes and the van begins motion with Ben and Leonetti, their backs against the back of the van, and they realize that the back door doesn't open. Unlike most vans of this type, most vans anywhere, the door has been barred with 2 rows of 2x4 affixed to both sides of the van, preventing it from being open as the door has been chained and welded to those 2 bars across the back of the van. It is clear the only way to get into this portion of the van is through the side door, and as the driver begins taking off and moving through the streets as if he knows them all too well. The others with shotgun rest with their back against the front portion of the van so that they won't get in each other's way. And then at this distance, if one of them fires or 2 of them fires, there's no way that they're not going to hit the both of them. Which is always a bad situation to be in. Alone in a city that you don't know, with people you don't know, pointing firearms that you do know how much damage they can do. And speaking of damage done, Mason and Marcus are moving into the laboratory.
So I take it you figured out how to fix me?
Well, figured out might be a strong way to put it, but I have the beginnings of a plan.
I mean, I guess that's always our motto, isn't it?
Yes. We are once again immediately moving to Plan B. And when he enters the room, he takes the shirt-wrapped steak and puts it on the lab table.
A what? Wait, a steak?
It's the steak.
Oh, okay. I was like, you ain't gonna stick me again, are you?
No, it is the steak that was in your chest
It
earlier.
has icky black stuff on it.
Yes. So there's an idea in magic where once you create something, every part of that something is always part of the whole. So anything that happens to part of it happens to all of it. And Anon seems to think that the poison will progress so long as any part of this steak is in you. So, the idea is we destroy the steak, the full manifestation of the steak, and any little splinters, leftovers, poisons that were once part of this that are now stuck in you and stuck in Ben will also be destroyed. It's that whole quantum entanglement thing. You flick one quanta, and every quanta that's vibrating on the same frequency rings a little as well. Marcus at this point realizes who he's talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So you make a mistake in a book when you're writing the book, and the editors don't catch it, and they print the book. Every part of that printing is going to have that mistake. So we're going to try to trace the mistake back to its source and wipe it out all at once.
Okay. Then let's do this. What are we waiting for?
Well, I've got to come up with a sigil, and I've got to come up with resonances for you, for Ben, and for the steak. And there needs to be a small sacrifice of sorts. To get me healed up, I had to sacrifice my pinky. It grew back, but it hurt.
No shit, it hurt. Losing
No.
a pinky ain't fun.
So he puts the steak in the middle, and he draws out, because what I need is the connection, the power, Ben, and Mason represented, and then the sacrifice. So that's 4 things plus the sacrifice. So he is going to draw a circle with an inscribed square inside of it. And he looks at Mason, he's like, let me have that pen you like for a second. You're gonna get it back. It's gonna be right here.
He looks at you skeptical, but then, he takes it where the fuck is hidden secret compartment. and hands it to you.
Okay,
Skeptically.
Skeptically. He takes the pen.
Skeptical about your about your pen. You never know who's going to take your pen.
You realize that pen is over 100 years old, right?
Yeah. You never know who's going to steal your pen.
I take the pen and I put it in one corner of the square, and then opposite it, I'm going to
Put a tire iron.
Don't
Mason
have
says that.
Um,
Mason for sure says that.
He is going to put his car key in the opposite corner from that, because Ben has worked on the love bug more than, well, anybody. That for him is his closest connection to Ben. He's going to take the stake and put it at the top corner of the square. And he's going to get a clean glass of water and put it at the bottom. So he has what he's starting with, going to what he wants it to become. The two people affected, left and right. Now we need...
Does anybody else hear like Enchanted or the Devil's Talk?
Now he needs something from himself. So, because he's a nerd, he's going to put his own cell phone in the middle of the square to represent himself. And with all that set up, he's going to look for the lab inscriptions for calling the energy that Marie was talking about.
All right. So, what we're going to do at this point, intelligence plus occult, DC 5. After you make that roll, we're going to move to the next row.
Oh, God.
DC 5?
Yeah, I've been a wizard for like a day and a half.
Yeah, well, you should be better.
Oh, thanks. Laugh it up, Fuzzball. I only have 5 dice for this.
Oh, Jesus Christ, they gotta be perfect. Crit. Or messy crit, that's what it's called.
No, we don't want that. This is just for figuring out the words. Yeah, I'm gonna willpower the shit out of that.
Give him advantage. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, there is no advantage for this. God damn it. Oh. Ah! Ah.
Do it.
Your wish has been answered, dumbass.
All right. Now comes the fun part. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your stamina plus blood sorcery?
Yes. Bless America.
All right. So,
Drink some of my blood before you did this.
all right. So, Mason and Ben, I need you to roll
Oh no.
your resolve plus blood sorcery.
You gotta be shitting me.
Everything comes at a cost, brother.
Well then, their difficulty?
Barry? Sorry. That probably wasn't helpful.
It was very helpful.
Well,
Doesn't have
that's
blood
all.
sorcery.
Yeah, neither do I. This is gonna be a learning curve. Why didn't we get like the regent to do this, not some wannabe sorcerer?
You all immediately, in the moment where you are, feel as if someone stuck a cattle prod in a place where it should not be. In the doing, you realize that you are one health level more vital.
Wait, what does that mean? Vital or like alive or
Yes,
not?
one health level is removed from your health tracker of
When-
damage.
What?
Forever?
No, it's removed. You lose that damage that you've received for one health level. One health level is disappeared. So it looks as
So
if
we're
you.
healed.
Yeah.
It looks as if you. It feels as if someone has tried to probe your insides with a cattle prod turned to its highest voltage. And as that's happening, as Mason goes rigid as if he is being ramrodded by an electric prod, as if some alien from on high has decided to settle invisibly in the room and explore his humanity. Marcus, please take 3 health level loss.
Why do you sound way too excited about that?
And roll your resolve plus composure.
Hold on.
Seriously, does no one else hear that weird? Or am I just going crazy?
I think you're just going crazy.
See, I don't trust your speak because I've been messing with you the last 2
Marcus,
days.
what are you rolling?
That was my resolve plus composure.
And you missed the 3?
I missed the 3. I might have been slightly distracted by a whole bunch of magical feedback, turning my brain into
Oh no.
puree.
It is worse than puree. It is reconstituted puree that was pureed again, strained out into a nice, lovely sauce, thrown into a deep fryer till it congeals, and then pureed again. So while all of that's happening, internally, externally, as far as you can tell, it's hard to do so with the red haze of the beast, damning, whispering sweet nothings into your ear, and seizing control, having you crawl over the table towards Mason. Would you be so kind as to roll your strength plus brawl as you descend on him with the viciousness that you are capable of?
And I like defend against this?
Well, after you get done, paralytically being shocked, yes.
Trust me, dude. Defending yourself is not going to be an issue.
I know, you're a little... Never mind. I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
You did say strength plus brawl, right?
What?
Yep.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah. Then
Hold
that's
on.
all I got.
Wait a minute. You're like a little... You're like a child.
Yeah, you were just viciously attacked by a 14-year-old girl.
I was like, oh, never
Thanks.
mind. Mason does the slightest punch against you, you're done. You're on the ground.
With fangs, and he's marring the sigils placed on the table and crawling across his eyes, bloodshot. And while The skill inherent is the complete antithesis to what you've seen on hand from Ben, Leonetti, Sorochi, hell, even the Doctor. There's some darker portion of it that seems almost palpable. So, are you too enamored with watching him crawl over the table? Like some 80s hair metal band video? Or what are you doing?
Can I just like slap him?
I'm about to
Like
be
not like too hard, but just backhand.
Backhand that bitch.
Trying not to hurt him too badly, but at the same time be like, you thought.
And slap him.
So you see him possessed by his beast, and you're going to just backhand him. Roll your strength plus brawl, please.
Oh, this is gonna suck.
It's gonna be great. If I had my knife, ooh. Well, I mean, I do have my knives, but I don't want to hurt you. Did my hunger raise at all, or no? Is it still the same?
No, your hunger hasn't changed yet, has it?
Okay. You gotta make a max roll to dodge. Coolio, so.
In the great wondrous now, as Marcus is crawling over the table, his beast urging him forward, him fighting against the shock both internally and mentally, which for him is the seat of his power and where he resides. Mason seeing and sensing the inherent threat intended.
He's old, he knows.
Lashes out, catching him across. Mason, what is your strength, and do you have potence?
I have 3 in strength, and I don't believe so, but let me just quickly. Nope, I do not have potence.
All right, 5 superficial levels of damage. Half
Oh
means
my-
you take 3.
Oh, okay, that's like not as scary.
It is scary. You gotta remember how that works. What it works is you feel the pain of that full 5, but you take what's lasting after the shock wears off is actually that 2.5 roll to 3.
So that's what that is meant for.
I lunge at him over the table, and he backhands me like a wiffle ball.
Yes.
Okay, so I now have an aggravated point of damage for the first time.
You're welcome. Sorry. You're welcome, and also sorry.
Better that than me like biting you.
Is it?
Yeah, once a vampire bites, it becomes increasingly more difficult to get rid of him.
Yes, because we want to get rid of you.
So I go skidding back across the table.
Upsetting and upturning the glass of water, the cell phone, all of his symbology, and sending the pen clattering to the floor. In the exchange, as reality dawns with a pain you have never felt before, your jaw misaligned and out of socket. Your eye socket, because you are dead, is unable to swell because there's nothing rushing to the area. However, is immediately contused and depressed from the sheer force of the backhand. Your eye isn't out of the socket, though the socket has been cracked. Never been one for physical confrontation or being that close to such things. You're not sure exactly what all the injuries are, except for your face feels funny.
Sorry.
Staring onto your handiwork, Mason, there is a sadistic pleasure. There are many moments that you shared with Marion where instruction was needed upon one of your guests. They'd either overstayed their welcome or transgressed against the laws of Kamati, having you withdraw your hospitality for them, and the many things that you all did. The pleasure derived from the pressures applied. And for the briefest of moment, you're back there looking down on them as they, in shock, realize what sort of monster you are. But in the present, Marcus,
Yeah.
this is the most pain that you have ever experienced, including cutting off your thumb, your pinky finger, to initiate the spell. And it dawns on you part of what went wrong. There was no sacrifice. There was no equivalent exchange. And unlike Mason, Ben is clearly not in the room, meaning that the sacrifice would have had to be larger, depending on how far away she is. If she's really at the succubus, that's 40 miles from where you are right now.
So I shake my head. And I pop my jaw back in.
You back to normal?
More or less. It's going to take a day or two to put this eye back right. So I'm seeing a little left to double.
Sorry.
No, you did the right
A
thing.
little bit.
You did totally the right thing. That could have gone horribly wronger. Did you feel any effect though? Did anything?
I feel better.
Okay. I think I know where I went wrong. I think I know how much this is gonna suck.
Can I have my pen back?
Nope.
Motherfucker.
And I look at I ignore his his passive wounds, the abrasions, contusions, all the things the birds did. And I'm looking at just what I have noticed about the spread of the toxin. Does that seem to have receded at all?
No, but it hasn't grown more. He still has a nice sleeve that he's working on of black ink vines, but otherwise he's perfectly fine.
But the poison is still visually very present.
Visually very present, but is no longer moving.
Okay, so had the right words, had the right setup. But now I have to,
Masochist yourself more? I don't know.
yeah, basically, yeah. That would be a good description. Something has to be given up. And I would prefer it not be your pen or my cell phone.
Something that, we value very much?
A little more personal than just a possession. Last time it was a pinky, but I don't know exactly where Ben is. So this is going to have to be a little something extra. And he's saying all this while he's refilling a new glass of water. And he's checking his circle.
How many days does it take to grow back a severed hand?
Well, it depends on how fucked up you are. Right now, it would take me 2 days. Because...
Oh, I was not talking about you, first of all. I was talking about myself. Mason.
Well, it depends on how fucked up you are. If you're into aggravated wounds,
No,
or if cutting off the limb would cause aggravated wounds, then you have to add a day for every level of aggravated wound. And knives inherently do, I think, +2 damage. So wherever you're at now,
I think I'm back up to full because of the 3 heals. No, the birds. I'm forgetting about the birds. I have 2 superficial.
yeah. But seeing as I'm the one doing the magic, I don't think we have to worry about you.
Oh, okay. So I literally can't be the one who sacrificed?
You could be if I were better. I'm not that good yet. Taking power from another sacrifice is harder than my own sacrifice, I think. But if you add yours to mine, 2 sacrifices, we could both sacrifice less and get more power out of it. Like hooking up batteries in series instead of in parallel. So I reset the glass, I double check the circle, clean up, and I add I take a bullet out of my gun and take some of the gunpowder, take the gunpowder out of the bullet and lay it on top of the steak. Okay, same thing again. This time, we're both going to cut off an important finger. Pinkies don't count.
Middle finger.
Well, for you, that's the important one.
Well, I'm really actually the index finger because that's the.
Well, you can still hold a pen if we cut off your middle finger, but you can't piss people off as much if we cut off your middle finger. And I think that resonates with you.
Yeah, that does.
So, same thing again. I'm going to do the chanting. When I get to the end of the chant, we're both going to cut off a finger.
Got it.
And then I'm going to light the gunpowder on top of the steak, which should propagate energy to the other pieces of the steak that are in you and Ben.
What if our beast kicks in and that little fire spark that you just did makes us scream?
Well, we're going to hope that doesn't happen.
Okay.
I've got a plasma lighter, but once it touches off this gunpowder, it is going to be fire in the room. So mentally prepare yourself for that.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, I am going to use Unswayable Mind with my fortitude. I hope that buttresses my brain a little bit.
Mason just looks at you funnily. Yeah, I don't have that.
Here's the funny thing is, Unswayable Mind protects from attacks. Your beast doesn't count as an attack.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh.
I'm aware that Unswayable Mind has very limited focus, but he hasn't used it very often and does not fully know that yet. But he's going to try it. His other option is clinging of the insects and sticking to the ceiling. Probably won't be helpful right now.
Can I rouse the blood to up my resolve?
Rouse the blood increases stats in one column. So all the mental, all the social, or all the physical.
Yeah, then the mental.
Yeah, but it would. Yes, however, you can't do that for a frenzy roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
Rostrak is basically immune to every defense we have, except for there's a ritual, a really high-level ritual that makes Tremere immune to Rostrak. Which I really
I'm not
want.
Tremere. Let's move on.
Okay, so I set everything back up. I've cleaned the circle. I've reset the pieces. We're now standing opposite each other. I'm on the stake side of the circle. He's on the clean water side of the circle.
All of the rolls are the same, except for this time you need to roll your frenzy roll.
Or when I light the gunpowder.
Do I roll anything? Or
Okay.
Yep. You'll be rolling your frenzy roll at the same time.
I don't suppose that the addition of the sacrifice lowers my difficulty at all.
It does not.
I did not
that's
think.
the frenzy roll is just rolling one hunger, right? Or
No.
No, frenzy is humanity.
humanity.
1/3 humanity
1/3.
plus your unspent willpower.
How much humanity this kid is have right now? I honestly forget.
7 or 6.
It's definitely not 7.
Then it's 6.
Yeah, it's 6. I don't think I've killed any other innocents since the the restaurant.
Well, you've killed so many, it's hard to tell at this point.
Well, yeah. Whatever. Anyways, it's a third of 6. That's not mental math I can do.
It's 2. It's 2.
Seriously?
Okay, so and this time I'm stating ahead of time that I'm spending all of my effort on this.
So it is 2. How the hell? Never mind. Sorry. So 2 plus, or is it just that I'm fucking dumb?
Okay, so chant. It's a V, not an R. It's the chant.
Not helping.
It was intelligence plus occult the first time, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna willpower the shit out of that.
You can willpower. Oh no, that's not. I don't think you can't willpower frenzy rolls, correct?
Correct.
Huh.
Okay.
I'd get out of there if I were you.
We're not even there yet for me. Okay, so that was the chant. And then for the second part, it's blood sorcery plus wits?
Resolve.
Resolve. Okay.
The thing I want to point out is Ben hasn't sort of reacted to the first one, and she's in a car full of people that have guns pointed at her. So that might...
All right. So,
Rush Rex. Oh, fuck.
well, that's a fuck situation for both Mason and Marcus.
Yes.
We're gonna be eating each other.
Yes. Yes, you will.
Well, no,
Fear
I'm going to be eating Marcus. Never mind. Marcus does not stand a chance. I'm sorry.
It's fear frenzy. It isn't combat frenzy.
It's not hunger. But yes, it's not a great situation because much like rats inside of a heated bucket, they will chew through anything between them and escape. Much like a fox with its foot in a trap, it will gnaw it off to escape. Both of you technically are what the rat would chew through. Both of you are the fox's limb caught in a trap, because the only way out is with Marcus, and the only way for Marcus to get out is if Mason moves the fuck out the way. So that's what I mean, that it's not a great situation for either of you in this moment.
We are rats in a stack. I get it.
Yes.
You know, one of my favorite torture methods, I mean, never mind. is a bucket with a rat in it, and you light the bucket on. Well, you put a flame on the other side of the bucket. I don't know why I know this. Never mind. I do Game of Thrones.
Okay. So the ritual goes off. We do the sacrifice. We light the. I light the stake.
And the world turns into a wall of anxiety pounding against your inner sanctum so viciously and thoroughly that it would be an honor to be considered a coward at this point. There's nothing that would stop you. No family member, no friend, no associate. Nothing will stop your flight from this room, from that flame, from that danger. The nitrous being the beast following along. And as you all tear towards the door, we shift gazes. Leonie, Ben, have you seen those videos where people have to get certified to use a stun gun, and so they have to be stunned?
I have, yeah, like both army and police, yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what transpires with Ben. She's sitting there looking at their faces, inhaling and sniffing and trying to get a full grasp of their scent. And then she goes rigid, everything tightening up as if her muscles are alive and there's nothing that they wouldn't do to shake themselves free of her form. Luck being what it is, the quick, chaotic movement doesn't cause the three watching you all to pull the trigger, though there is clear worry. Like, hey, Shauna, can we get fucking seizures? Oh no, it's a trap. She'll be fine. Don't fall for it. We're almost there. Leonetti, if you're speaking, we can't hear you, but there is noise in your background.
So you can hear it. Okay.
Okay. Well, Leonetti, we'll take it that's a technical issue going on. So we're going to move the scene along.
Ben is kind of gritting her teeth, and
she feels better suddenly.
it feels better, but at the same time is worried about what just happened.
And it gets worse because as you're settling back in, you're rolling your shoulders, and what the ever loving fuck was that? It happens again. It happens more directly. Before, like the building the tree you were leaning against to got struck by lightning, and a little of the extra juice hit you. This one, you are in a rolling thunder lightning storm, flying a kite made out of aluminum at the highest point of the highest mountain, soaking wet with your feet in a pond.
Yeah, she's like bouncing almost flat on her back in spasms, and I'm pretty sure there's like vitae-tinged drool coming out of her mouth. Eyes rolled back in her head. She has no bodily control at all right now.
The van is slammed to a stop. Wherever you are is just outside of constant, easy street light or they've managed to pull you inside some building or some garage. The three back out of the van as quickly as they can to give you space, and she crawls in, sitting on your chest, holding you still. Look, it's clear you're not faking, but is there anything we can do to help you through this? Hey, come on. Stay with us. Come on, you can't die from seizures, but it does make it look really, really bad for you. You're not going to wet yourself, are you?
Pretty sure there's no way for her to really respond, is there?
Oh, there is, because you feel your arm stop tingling. You feel the black, inky sleeve that had been making its way nearly up your neck at this point begin to recede. It's like swelling, dissipating. You feel better. You can reduce all of your lost health levels at this point.
She didn't lose that many, I don't think, in the first place. It was more like a lot of superficial from the birds, but yeah, I think she's back to full at 9, so we should be good.
Holy Jesus. I have fortitude, I don't have that much.
Oh, she's a tank, but so she's kind of like showing the person her arm. Hopefully they'll see the black lines and webbing on her arm as it kind of recedes. Like, just like, look.
It is clear that no one had bothered to pay attention to that ickiness, that dirtiness about you. And she leaps off as if you showed her your free clinic test results showing her that you're burning. And she backs out of the van. Oh, fuck this. That's not good. They got like some supernatural herpes or supernatural AIDS going on. Let's get the fuck away from them. This job ain't worth it.
When she can finally gain control of herself and sit up. Just looking at Leonardo like, I'm going to kiss Marcus and then I'm going to kill him. I think it was him that did this.
Okay. Well, Lena is clearly dealing with technical difficulties, so what we're going to do, being as it is 2 minutes after the hour, we don't want to go over and with Lena and Eddie leaving Ben to respond to themselves. What we will do is fast forward through their travails across the southeastern portion of Chicago, down through their trip through East Chicago, down past the airport, and into Gary. We're also going to shorten the tete-a-tete between Mason and Marcus inside the lab, and the attention that it would bring. Because of Marcus's efforts earlier this evening, the closest Tremere would be Marie, and her assistance in getting them out and keeping them from tearing each other apart are the reasons why Mason is still this side of the second death, and why Marcus is not needed in a cover-up of someone attempting to kill a new Tremere. In the offing, the coterie makes landfall at the Tremere Chantry, which is the school. And they have the opportunity to talk for the first time in quite some time, to get all of their truths out to one another, to attempt to share the burden of the lives that they've lived thus far. We're going to draw to a close our live play at this moment, but we're going to continue in post because there is a lot of information that each of you have in part. If you choose not to share and take part, you can just simply remark with a quick no over in play by post, and it won't be a factor of what you don't share because you're not going to be sharing anything. But we began this episode and this season with the idea that you all are stronger together. That together, working towards a similar goal, there's very little that will stand in your way. Each moment that fate has decided to separate your aim of cause, or has decided through your actions to cause you to establish a distance between yourselves and your loved ones and the coterie, harsh things have happened. Fate has conspired to take everything from you and give you only pain. In this moment of having survived what you survived, in this moment of realizing you all are capable of nearly anything together, we draw to a close, and thank you all for playing, exploring, and living in this world for the 4 seasons that we've reached. This is officially the end of a thing. It's the end of the beginning, as it were. We look forward to season 5 and all that the coterie will bring to bear. Good night, everybody. Have a nice evening.
We gotta get an EXP trial.
Okay, so I would like to state, in Marcus's defense, he warned everybody this was going to happen.
He did. I'm not mad.
He said out loud, "I'm going to do some magic on you guys, and this is going to suck."
Well, I mean, with Mason, he wasn't in the middle of something. I mean, he was. Like, after this, we're going to have to go to